Yo guys, what is going on? Got a Three Musketeers deck profile for you guys. So this is one of my favorite decks out of the set 6 format. A very fun and control-y build. This is the deck I actually won locals with the other day, so it is performing really well for me. I played against 2 Jesmon decks, 1 Gabu Bond, and then security control list, which was also playing Bellstar, so it was like a security control list with the 3 Musketeer cards, but all in all, it performed very well, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my tech choices and why I think this deck is so powerful for the double diamond format. So let's go ahead and get into it. So for the Digi-Eggs, I am playing 4 copies of Demi-Meramon and 1 copy of Starter Deck Pokemon. I think this is definitely the best lineup, being able to cycle through your deck with Demi-Meramon. I think Demi-Meramon is just like the best purple egg for like basically every purple deck. And then Pokemon is nice because you get to Ondulation trash the top 2 cards of your deck. So if you're swinging with like an Immon or something, that's already 5 cards that are in your trash immediately just off of 1 interaction. So I like this lineup a lot. I probably wouldn't change it. I think Demi-Meramon's better in most situations, just letting you draw into your combo pieces, maybe drawing into a Bellstar or something like that. So for the level 3s now, I will warn you guys that this is a very unconventional deck, so the levels and the kind of colors you're going to see are very weird and might throw you off at first if you've never seen a 3 Musketeer list, but let's go ahead and get right into it. So we are playing 4 copies of BT2 Impmon. So this guy is really amazing because he lets you on deletion mill the top 3 cards of your deck, so you really just want to get as many 7-cost option cards in your trash as quickly as possible because your win condition, Bellstarmon, lets you abuse the fact that you have a lot of 7-cost option cards in your graveyard, and then, you know, recur them with her effect and then play her for a reduced cost, which is so insane, right? So for Immon to kind of turbo through that, and then 3 copies of the new BT6 Impmon. This guy lets you on play discard a card from your hand and bring back a 3 Musketeers or a 7 Demon Lords, which that one is not relevant in this deck. I'm not playing any Beelzemon or Lilithmon or anything like that, but we are definitely playing the 3 Musketeer card, so I'm only playing 3 of this because I was already kind of wanting to cut more of the monsters to make room for more tech choices, more option cards, more tamers. However, this guy is really powerful. Being able to recur Bellstarmon and use your effect multiple times is amazing, but early game I don't think he's extremely essential, even though he is a purple level 3, but I found myself just digivolving him rather than actually utilizing his on-play effect, so that's why I cut him to 3, but 4 is definitely fine. I just think 3 is like, I wouldn't go any lower than this. And then for the other purple level 3s, playing 2 copies of Gazimon. This card is still bonkers in this format, even more so because we are getting the memory boost cards in the Ulforce and Gallantmon starter decks. However, there are still a couple of commonly played cards that this out, stuff like Hammer Spark, Blinding Ray, and then of course also Howling Memory Boost, which Gabu Bond, you know, some lists are playing that. So there was one round against the Gabu Bond player where I was able to just like summon a Mechanorimon and then play this as well, and then lock him to 1, and then he didn't have Memory Tamer, and then he had no way of using his Howling Memory Boost to gain anything, so then I was able to control the board from there. So Gazimon is really insane. And then lastly, 2 copies of Labramon. This guy is really nice, but I decided to cut him down to 2. I was originally playing 4, but it's definitely not necessary. You do get to cycle through your deck and then just set up your trash with his effect. However, there are other ways you can discard cards, other ways you can get stuff quickly into the trash, and of course, digivolving him, he just basically becomes a vanilla. So I found that when I did want to see a purple level 3, I either wanted to see Impmon to digivolve him and then swing with him later, or the set 6 Impmon to actually use his effect, or maybe a Gazimon or something. But anyway, so that is going to be it for the purple level 3s, and then now on to the level 4s. You are playing a lot of blockers in this deck. So first of all, playing 3 copies of Vilemon. Vilemon is much better in this deck, I think, versus something like Devimon, who is a 1 cost, but he is 5,000, because the 1 cost is not super relevant in this deck. You don't care about the evolution cost. You care that Vilemon is a 6,000 blocker, and he's a 5 play cost, because a lot of times you do actually end up hard playing him. I also actually ended up like swinging with this card a lot, so the 6,000 DP actually does, it does actually come up up, so it's pretty nice just having him being bigger, and then of course bringing this back off as War or something feels much better versus a Devimon. And then one copy of Ginkakumon Promote. This card is so crazy, being able to bring this back off as War, or just even hard play it, and then just swing for game with Rush. I was able to do that once throughout the couple rounds I played at locals, and then just being able to have another purple level 4 that you can Digivolve also helps if you desperately need the draw. So then that's it for the purple level 4s. For the black portion of the deck, we are playing 4 copies of Deputymon. Deputymon is an essential card in the strategy. He is so fantastic. Being able to on play, you reveal top 4, add a 3 Musketeers and any 7 cost option cards that tutors out like basically half of your deck, and then being able to add a Bellstarmon or a Gundramon, setting up for his second effect, which lets you, ignoring the restrictions on like color restrictions, evolution cost, whatever, you can just warp into a 3 Musketeers for an evolution cost of 6. So that comes up a lot with Gundramon. You basically play this guy, grab your 3 Musketeer Digimon and your 7 cost option card, and then the following turn you can warp straight into a Gundramon, and Gundramon is an absolutely crazy card. But also the fact that he's a black level 4 is really nice, because I am also playing 2 copies of Rebellymon. Rebellymon is crazy for a couple reasons. So for one, he is a purple and black Digimon in the sense that he can evolve on top of purple black, so any of these guys here, and then he is also during your turn treated as a black Digimon, so you can actually Digivolve Gundramon on top of him, which actually for me came up more than the retaliation blocker portion of that. But of course, being a retaliation blocker is really crazy against certain matchups. That can be an absolutely an absolutely powerful card for your opponent to have to deal with, such as Jesmon. If your opponents bring out a Jesmon and they are going to swing for like 70 security checks and take out your whole stack and probably game you, you can just set up this guy, and then in that sense they won't be able to attack that turn. Otherwise they'll have to find a way to get rid of him, but that deck doesn't have any other ways to get rid of him aside from attacking over. So retaliation blocker is a really crazy combo. But then of course being able to just like Digivolve this, and then if they don't out it, you just get to go into a Gundramon the following turn, which is crazy. So I think this card is really amazing. And then lastly, just 1 copy of Mechanorimon. I still think this card is crazy versus just most matchups, honestly. Rookie Rush, or even like Jesmon, because they spam the board with Sistermon's Loss, or just, you know, general rogue stuff that you want to protect your security against. Because to be honest, this deck, while it does have quite a lot of powerful option cards, you don't really have anything that's extremely strong in security, like to the extent that security control does, right? You're not playing Wyvern's Breath or Iron Fist Onslaught or stuff like that. Found that I wanted like another layer of protection, and Mechanori helps me do that, and then being able to bring him back off as War is really amazing as well. So that's it for the lower level monsters. And then for the level 6s, of course, playing 4 copies of Bellstarmon. This card, oh my god guys, the Bellstarmon is an absolute monster of a card. So if you guys don't know what this card does, it lets you basically, while playing this card from your hand, you can reduce her play cost by 1 for each 3 Musketeers Digimon and 7 cost option card in your trash. Okay, so you can essentially, most times you're playing her for less than her actual cost of 12. There were many times I played her for 6 or 7, and there was actually a couple times I actually played her for free, being able to just tutor out a level 6 Digimon for free, and then get the crazy on play effect that lets you return 1 option card with a memory cost of 7 from your trash to your hand, and then you can use any option card with a memory cost of 7 from your hand, including the one you added back or any of the others in your hand. So I'll get to which option cards you're going to be activating with her effect, but you basically have something for every situation. If your opponent's spamming the board, you can go all Swarmer them. If they have 1 really powerful monster, you can Fly Bolt or Trump Sword them. If you want to set up blockers, you can Nail Bone. So you have so many different options. Bellstarmon is just such a versatile card, and then not only that, being a purple level 6 also sets up for your level 7 plays, and being able to, you know, have extra removal from that is just absolutely crazy. I think Bellstarmon is one of the most powerful cards we have ever gotten in this game. So yeah, this is the heart and soul of the deck. It would not function quite as strong without Bellstarmon, and in fact, Bellstarmon has been splashed in a lot of other decks as well, like Security Control, for example. example, can literally just play 4 Bellstarmon and a couple of the 3 Musketeer option cards because it's just such a powerful engine. So for the other level 6s, I am playing 3 copies of Gundramon. So Gundramon is the other 3 Musketeer I'm playing in this deck. I'm not playing Magna Kidmon. Magna Kidmon was cool. He has the effect of security attack +1, and then basically all 3 of these guys let you do like something where you can activate a 7-cost option card. Bellstar essentially activates one from trash. Magna Kid essentially activates one from hand, and then Gundramon here will let you activate one from the top 5 cards of your deck. So I think Gundramon is much better than Magna Kid for a couple of reasons. So for one, when you Digivolve him, you get to mill top 5 and then use a 7-cost option card from amongst those cards, and then it can, you know, be any of the 3 Musketeer option cards, and then provided you meet the color restrictions, you can activate maybe a Nailbow and a Trump Sword. So I think Gundramon is crazy for the fact that you can activate an option card from your deck, basically, and then you get to mill the rest, so that sets up further for your Bellstarmon. And not only that, but he is an 11,000 blocker, and blockers, I think this format are so good. Like, there are so many blockers in this deck, and that honestly has saved me so many games. The fact that you can put up an 11,000 wall, and your opponent immediately has to answer this, otherwise you're going to be able to potentially go into your level 7s as well, because the 7s I am playing in this deck are black and purple, so hence why I think these 2 Musketeers are the best ones to run. But yeah, Gundramon, absolutely fantastic as well. And then for the other level 6s, I'm playing 1 copy of Craniamon and 1 copy of Sakuyamon. So these are like the spicy tech choices for other matchups in the game. So Craniamon is for both the mirror match and security control deck. So one thing with 3 Musketeers is that a lot of their, or basically all of their option cards, or the option cards that you play in this deck, are removal based, so that they delete. Okay, so Craniamon is basically a card that you can play against the mirror match, and they have almost no outs to him aside from doing something like a Millenniumon or a Wyvern's Breath. Okay, those are 2 of the outs I can think of off the top of my head, but this card makes it so that all of your blockers are unable to be destroyed. So you're playing tons of blockers, you're playing Gundramon and your Mechanorimons, and your Vilemon and Rebellion and stuff like that, so being able to protect your whole field while setting up a 12,000 blocker. And then of course, being a black level 6 means that you can also evolve on top of Rebellion, giving that card even more use. So I think for those reasons, Craniamon's really fantastic. And then Sakuyamon, this card straight up wins games. Okay, so there isn't a way you can evolve Sakuyamon, you just have to hard play it, which might seem like a lot. However, versus 2 decks specifically, so Gabumon and Jesmon, I think this deck has a very difficult matchup against, because Jesmon can OTK you very quickly. They have access to Delicate Plan, so then they can just go through your security, don't have to care about any option cards. And Sakuyamon helps you prevent losing to those decks, because you play it, if they bring out their Jesmon or their Gabumon, that will get security attack -3, so won't be able to hit your security cards whatsoever. You'll be safe for the turn, and then once they bring it out, okay, maybe they'll, like Jesmon will Judgment of the Blade attack over one of your dudes, or maybe Gabumon will Kokai's Breath. If they bring out their Jesmon out, you can fly bullet them, or a Trump Sword or whatever. So I think Sakuyamon is so amazing. This card won me so many games, and I'm just a huge fan of this. So anyway, so that is the level 6 lineup for the deck. And then for the level 7s, I'm only playing 3 level 7s in this deck. I wanted to keep it as consistent as possible, but still wanted to include a range of options. So I'm playing 1 of each Omnimon Zwart, Omnimon Zwart Defeat, and Millenniumon. So these 3 are all fantastic in their own right. So Omnimon Zwart, the interaction with Bellstarmon, being able to, like, let's say you drop a Bellstarmon, use your effect, control their board, Digivolve into Zwart, and then you'll bring back 2 Digimon, attack with Zwart, and then his effect, bounce back your Bellstar to kill something unsuspended with a play cost of 12 or less, and then you can just play Bellstarmon again and use your effect. So I think the interaction between these 2 is so crazy that you can't not play Zwart in this deck. So Zwart is an absolute monster, and then Zwart Defeat is of course insane for his security effect, being able to remove tamers, stuff like Ty and Matt, preventing your opponent from warping into the bonds is really essential, and then of course being able to delete something when he dies is really crazy. And then Millenniumon, of course, to out your opponent's Craniamons or any of your opponent's Zwart Defeats. Other problematic Digimon with maybe on deletion effects that you really don't want to deal with. There was was one game against the security control player where I had a Gundramon on field, and then I swung with it into security, and then I hit his Wart Defeat, and then after it was done battling, I just Digivolved my Gundramon into a Millenniumon, and then bounced back his Wart Defeat, so without triggering his effect. So I think all three of these are amazing. I'm not exactly sure on what the correct ratio for these is, but I would definitely wanted to include one of each. If you want to play more level 7s, I'd probably recommend like playing 2 Wart Defeat and then 1 and 1 of each of these, but I thought this lineup worked perfectly for me. So then for the option cards and tamers, playing lots of option cards in this deck, right? So first of all, playing 4 copies of Trump Sword. So Trump Sword is the only card you have that interacts with Gabumon, alright? One of the only cards, aside from Sakuyamon, obviously, but, so this card lets you delete an unsuspended Digimon, so a lot of times when your opponent brings out a Gabumon, they'll warp into the bond, and then they'll attack unsuspend, and then if they hit a Trump Sword, it'll go ahead and stop their play right there. Aside from that, it is a very difficult matchup, and they can run through your whole security in a couple turns, so I definitely felt like this was needed, especially because I know there is a lot of Gabumon at my locals, so there was, you know, this came in clutch, and it was really, really nice, especially being a 7-cost option card. It synergized with the whole deck really well. Now for the Musketeer option cards, playing 3 copies of Fly Bullet, 2 copies of Gewaltschwarmer, and 1 copy of Happy Bullet Showering. So I really like this lineup because I think all these cards are great in different situations, but Fly Bullet is definitely just the most generic, and this has a security effect as well. This card lets you basically just delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon, and then security effect activates the main effect. Okay, Gewaltschwarmer is insane against a lot of decks, however, it doesn't have a security effect, so I think 2 is fine because you see it enough. If you hit in security, you just add it to hand. This lets you delete everything with a play cost of 7 or lower, so it clears the board of your opponent's Sistermons and you know, stuff that's preventing you from attacking over their Jessamon perhaps, or it just deals with Rookie Rush completely. This card has won me so many games, it's absolutely crazy. And then Happy Bullet Showering, I think, is definitely the weakest of the 3. It deletes all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP, but it is a spread effect that does trigger insecurity, so I still think it's worth playing as a 1 or 2 of. There were a couple games where if like your opponent only has like 1 Digimon on field, like let's say they swing with like their 1 Jessamon or their 1 Genkumon or something, and they hit this, then you just kill like their one stack Digimon. So it can be good at times, but I found myself like ditching this more often than not, and like whenever I would play Bellstar, I would usually like use one of these instead. But so yeah, that is it for the 3 Musketeer option cards. These cards also allow you to activate them even if you don't meet the color restrictions, as long as you have a 3 Musketeer Digimon on field. So that's why you can play Bellstarmon, and even if you don't have a black or red, you can still use the effects of these 2 cards. And then for the last 7 cost option cards, I'm playing 2 copies of Nailbone. I think 2 is fine. Nailbone is really crazy, of course, being able to play it off Bellstar, or even just hard activating. There's a couple times when I didn't want to commit to a Bellstar, so I just like played this and then brought back 2 dudes, and then like if my opponent dealt with them, then I just Bellstarred them anyways. So being able to do that and then reduce the cost, since this is now you're in trash, is really, really nice. So that's it for the 7 cost option cards. And then for the last little spicy package I was playing, I'm playing 2 copies of Izzy Joe and 2 Ultimate Flare. So these are the last kind of tech cards in the deck. So Izzy Joe is just such a good generic tamer card. I don't even think it's like you only need to play this in like Security Control or 3 Musketeers. I think this is just an overall really insane card, being able to punish your opponent for just playing the game, right? If they have 2 or more Digimon at the start of your turn, you just gain 2 memory. Of course, that affects stacks. And then during your opponent's turn, if they get rid of one of your black Digimon, so your Deputymon, your Gundramon, or whatever, Rebellymon even, then you get to just trigger draw 1 by suspending this. So then I wanted a good black source, and this I think is one of the best in the game, being able to have 2 fantastic effects. And then so I wanted the black source just so I could, if in the off chance I drew the Ultimate Flare, I'd be able to activate it from hand. And now, why am I playing Ultimate Flare? It doesn't synergize with the deck. It is not a 7 cost option card, so you either have to hit this in security or you have to hard activate it from your hand, but that's fine because like I said, there is a lot of Gabumon and my locals, and Gabumon and Jessamon are just decks that can run through this deck very, very quickly. So I wanted another card that was really strong in security, that basically guaranteed I wouldn't lose to those 2 decks. So if you hit Ultimate Flare in security and your opponent's attacking with a Gabumon, you just devolve it back to a Gabumon, and then it dies from Ultimate Flare's effect. Same thing with Jessamon, just devolve it into a Huckmon and it dies. So this card is an absolute blowout against those decks, and then of course it gets rid of like their Sistermon Blancs and their regular Huckmons and stuff as well if they're just trying to like spam the board. So just more board wipes is just insane. Like, you're already playing a lot in this deck, but having access to Ultimate Flare I think is never a bad thing, so I want to make room for that. So that is going to be the main deck. So guys, that is going to be the video. If you did enjoy, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Are you looking forward to playing 3 Musketeers, or are you dreading it and you don't want to really play against it? Do you find security control decks annoying to play against? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But guys, that's going to be the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.